Hello, Onno.
Yeah, good day to you, Dr. Roma.
Thank you very much for your time. And I would like to discuss with you very important issue of our days. This is about stress and anti-stress. So first of all, I would like to introduce you, Onno Nieveen. We know each other for a few years. We met in Holland in some conference. And I know that for many years you are specializing in anti-stress therapies. You are an author of a book very popular in Holland on this topic. How you came to this topic and what is important for you in it now?
Well, as a practitioner, I found out that stress is a major factor for almost everybody in his life to stay healthy, or at least to become healthy again, to dealing with the stress. So the stress is a very important factor which influences the immune system. And for many people who have strange effects, they're all related to stress. So when I got to see that, and I got to the point that to study how stress works in the human body and mind, I found out that it's in a way very simple, but also very complicated at the same time. And that a lot of the way stress is dealt with by doctors and by therapists and etc., that it was not good enough. So there was something missing. And what was the most important thing was that I found out that the brain is the most important factor in dealing with stress. So, and the brain basically has three parts. It has a very, very, very old part. It's called the reptilian brain, and or the brain stem. That's another word. And this part of the brain is 24 hours per day responsible for watching the circumstances. So in the old days, let's say 500 million years ago, there was this animal, this reptilian animal, and he was looking for food and he needed to breathe, and he was also careful not to be eaten by another animal. So that was his life: fight, flight, freeze. That was all. And later on in evolution, let's say 200 million years later, these animals were not only looking for fight, flight, or freezing, eating, but they also had to take care of their breed. So, for example, in reptilian, they have eggs, put it in the soil, and they leave. But once you got birds and other animals, they had to take care of their young animals, and they needed another part of extra brain. So their brainstem is not good enough. So they had the emotional brain becoming in their heads. It's taking care of others. And that's what we have as well. And later on, only maybe 1 million years ago, there was something we call the cortex. It's the outside part of the brain. And that's the part where we are aware of I, Onno, is doing this conversation. And I, Onno, sees a problem and he wants to solve it. And that, we address as being very important. But in the practice, 24/7, my brainstem, my reptilian brain, is scanning if everything is okay. For example, a young mother, she's sleeping. So the eye of the young mother is not working, she's sleeping. But when the baby is giving one little kick, she wakes up. And that part is the brainstem. It's taken care of 24/7. And I found out that we have a lot of techniques and therapies and stuff to relax the cortex, the eye, positive thinking, all types of therapies, the emotional part, but there was nothing available for the brainstem. And why not? Because the brainstem is that old, 500 million years or maybe even older. And at the time, there was no language. So the brainstem is not listening to any language at all. It's non-verbal. It only listens to sound. It sees movement. And the odor is still there. is important. And we know that as well, because the oldest memories we have go through the nose, not through mind thinking. So if we want to relax the brain, there are many techniques, but the most important is missing to relax the brainstem. And for that, we need resonance, like I said, or odor, but resonance is much easier for us. And that's the technique we use now to relax people at the very deep part of their brains. And actually,
for those people, sorry, Onno, for those people who will hear first time about possibility to be relaxed by resonance or by sound, please introduce this very wide field of medical reality, which is going to be wider and wider with this new, sorry, with this new task humanity has now. For example, during coronavirus, many people went in stressful situations because of many reasons, you know, and many people will will search for solutions. So please relate, first of all, what is this resonance about, and what are possibilities for resonance and sounds and other stuff to make us less stressful, and then how we can use it.
Okay, well, first of all, you have basically two types of stress. First is the real trigger for the real stress, which is there's a big tiger and he's looking for you to have you as a dinner. That is real stress.
Okay.
So the brain says, okay, you have to run or fight, but probably with the tiger you run. And that was at the old days when we were walking with 50 people. That was the tribe you were living in. And then we had the big tigers and the big snakes and stuff. But for many people nowadays, that's not the big threat anymore. So the stress comes from the psychological level. Do I have a job? Do my children go to the right school? Will I be affected by Corona? Can I have the right medicine if Corona comes? But also, my new car has a scratch on it. You know, you're irritated and stressed because of what happened. So there are many psychological things. But for the brain, there's no difference. The brain will react to it exactly the same. So if there is a Corona threat to you, or there is this tiger standing in front of you, wanting you for dinner, there's no difference for the brain. So that's an advantage. At the deepest level, the brainstem, as I tried to explain, there is no I. So the brainstem works for everybody exactly the same. And because it's the deepest level, and only after, let's say, 1 millisecond, you have the emotion about, oh, I'm in fear. And then you think, I am in fear. So I, Onno, are in fear. But before that happens, let's say a millisecond before that, the brainstem was reacting. And there's no Onno. There's no personal thing. So that's an advantage. That means that everybody is the same. Every animal is the same, like us. So we can use one type of resonance and works for everybody. So that's a big advantage. And it took us many years to find out what type of resonances we should use. And many people were involved to get that all done. But so what we have now available are a series of anti-stress resonances, which focus on different parts of the stress. Let's say the fight process you're in, the flight process. Everybody who's addicted is in a flight process, for example. Fight process is quite well known. But there are many people, for example, in the freeze modus. Nothing works anymore in their life. They cannot do anything. Everything they do turns out to be a failure. So that we have different resonances for different states of stress. But in a way, it's all that one resonance you can use. So if we have the same stress type, we can listen to that one resonance. And the interesting thing is we started to make the resonances in water. So you could take a drop or a pill. But now there's also, these resonances are available as MP3 files. So that means that you just go to the website, like you go to Spotify, you click on a button and you listen to the resonance. And what we did is we used the C sound and we embedded the resonance in this C sound. So every time you listen to a C sound, you also listen to the resonance which is included there, and it has this effect on you, on your brain, on your body. So it's very, very simple. Just go to a website, click the button, and listen to it for 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's enough. And if you want to listen more, you do that, but 5 to 10 minutes is basically enough. So whether you live in Tokyo, in Warsaw, in Jerusalem, in Amsterdam, or in New York, doesn't matter. You go to the same website, you click, and you listen. So that's very, very modern, easy, and cheap.
Wow. So I would like to ask, since then, these resonances are in the field, and what is your estimations? How many people already use it, and what are the results?
Well, I'm very much, I'm working and living from Holland, from near Amsterdam. And the numbers I'm now using are from our country and England, Germany, Belgium. So a limited number of countries. What we see is that about 80% of the people benefit from it. So we did a lot of research, we do inquiries, people are asked how their life goes on. So we got a lot of feedback. So we see that I'd say everybody has a response to it, and 80% of the people say, well, it really changed my life in a way. So that is, well, that's, for me, that is a very nice number, because the technique you could do behind your desk at home or on your own couch. So it's a very accessible way of doing it. And well, thousands of people over the last, tens of thousands of people over the last 7-8 years have used it so far. But in other countries, like in Africa, we treat people with this type of resonances, and we do 500,000 a year. So there are many, many people benefited from it. And I'd say it is also something, it's very new. So people are kind of, okay, what is this? Is this possible? And of course we say yes, but I think we also give people the opportunity to try it on themselves. So you can go to a website and you can try a free option and see if it works for yourself, experience what happens. And if you decide, well, this is something I really appreciate, well, you can go for a series which will last for 6 months or so and are more specialized on what you really want. But to give the people an option to try it on is, I think, very important.
So it will be more individualized in this series for half a year. Am I right?
Well, of course, there's no personal thing there, as I explained, but some people have stress issues which are related to the past. For example, they were in the war like soldiers, or they had an accident, or they had very bad experiences. That's from a different, the result is the same, but we're more focusing on that part. And there's also people who don't know where it comes from. They have no clue. They just feel stressed. And well, then we have to look in a different direction. We also have detox resonances, because some of the stress we are in is caused by the food we eat, or by the medicines we have been taking over the years, or by vaccinations, or et cetera, et cetera. Electrosmog is a big thing at the moment. So there are specialized resonances on detoxing from what I just mentioned. And there's a third group, that is that we were born with all the talents available for humankind, everybody. But in some part of your life, you might lose this or you think you lose that quality. For example, you're a very patient person, but then you have growing up kids. So when they're in their teens, you might lose your temper once in a while. You lose the quality of being patient. But still you have that ability. So there's another part of the resonances who are kind of stimulating these qualities we all have, like patience, compassion, vitality, power, courage, stuff like that. And so in a way that is also de-stressing you. If you are becoming more patient, you will lose the stress immediately within seconds. So we'd like to stimulate that part. So that's the third group. Very powerful, I think.
You know, there is a proverb, it sounds good for me, but I would say it resonances good for me. And I hope that people, by using such a very easy technique to use, will be much less stressful. And that's what we want. Thank you very, very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Bye.